Hello and welcome to the Say Yes Movement podcast with Heather and John. Hey Heather, how are you doing today?
Very good, John. Very good. All right. Are we continuing the conversation about gratitude and communication? Because I've been getting so much feedback on that content, and I think you have as well. So I think there's more to talk about here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Gratitude. Yes. So for those of you that are joining and just listening for the first time, we have kicked off the 30-day gratitude challenge, and it's really around expressing gratitude every day for 30 days. What I do know, and this actually comes from a book that I read years ago called 30 Days of Thank You, 30 Days of Thanks by Cami Walker. Beautiful book. And she talked about how she was actually sick. I forget what she had specifically in terms of illness, but she actually used gratitude and thanks as a way of getting healthier. And
Mm,
there's a lot of research and science behind what gratitude does for you. Number one, you can't feel fearful and anxious if you're grateful, because only one emotion
exactly.
can occupy the space at one time. And I've done gratitude challenges in the past, and I typically do them for 30 days because 30 days is really around creating a new habit. And it was interesting because so I've been posting on different social networks, and one lady that I know who lives on a reserve, she wrote and she goes, "Well, we should be living like gratitude just should be a state of being." Right? That's what she wrote in the comments, and I said, "Well, absolutely," but I think a lot of us we just forget. Right? We forget that
Mm-hmm.
if we're not feeling the best, if we're not feeling our strongest, if we're not feeling like we're contributing in some big way, like just take a second to appreciate and express gratitude for where you are. Like that will change everything.
It'll change everything. And we spend a little bit of time talking about priming, but priming is a gratitude can be a priming tool. And what that means is setting ourselves up to feel a certain way because of the environment that we create around ourselves. And that is such a simple thing that people just forget about. And I know you actually did a presentation this week to some leaders around priming, and like, how did it go? I didn't even talk to you since then. And was there any aha moments that came out of that?
Yes, no, it was a bit of for some they never heard of the word priming. So priming,
Mm.
for those of you that aren't familiar with the word priming, it's just, if we're using it in today's language, I'm going to say influence. How do you influence yourself to get yourself to a certain outcome or a certain way of being? So it was a bit of an aha, and it was really just to bring awareness to we are constantly in the process of being primed. Good or bad, we're being primed every single day. This is why I love gratitude, because gratitude is actually a priming tool to get yourself to a place where you feel good first thing in the morning. And the
Yeah.
one thing I learned in my studies, the one thing I think we both learned in our studies, any successful person out there, they have a practice of gratitude, right? So it doesn't
Hmm.
matter if it's Robin Sharma, it doesn't matter if it's Tony Robbins, they all talk about gratitude as a way of being to get yourself to a place where you feel more powerful, like you can do anything. And that's what I shared with the group yesterday. And it was really neat because there was like over 100 attendees in the session. And we talked about priming. We spent a little bit of time on priming just to help them understand that you could set up priming routines first thing in the morning, just like this show, right? Like the Say Yes Movement podcast is a priming tool to get people into a good mood before they kick off the day.
It's
Instead of
the
sitting
time
there,
slot we chose. We actually
yes,
on purpose chose 8:40 to 9 because most meetings start at 9 a.m. So this is can be your priming tool to get you started. In fact, a lot of our regular listeners, this is they're driving into the office, they're putting us on. Gunjan, you're there. Like that, this is part of his routine and his rituals to listen and take in the learning. And we make it such a small call to action in every one of our Say Yes Movement podcasts that it's meant to be able for you to do it right away. And that's the key to learning something new, is to implement it right away. So John, I know in that presentation you had them do some exercises, some takeaways, and like maybe we could actually share that with everyone right now.
yeah, no, yeah. So number one is an awareness of what priming is. Number two is how do you take that, create a routine, or in what I did yesterday was really creating a state shifting routine to put yourself into a really positive place. So here's the thing that happens, right? So when you and we're talking about gratitude today. So gratitude. So there's three different things, and I'm a firm believer in the model of the emotional triads, right? So you have your focus, you have your language, and you have your physiology that really creates and puts you into a different emotional state.
Mm-hmm.
Robbins calls it the emotional triad. So the three sides: focus, language, physiology. So one of the things I got them to do, which is a really, 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 really simple thing, is just doing the power pose. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the looks on all their faces when I had them do this, and they're like, I know. Imagine being in a corporate environment where people can see you and you're doing the power pose, next to your peer. But it was fun, right? Like, it's an easy one, and it's an easy way to just shift into a state where you feel more powerful, where you feel stronger. Amy Cuddy wrote a whole book on this called Presence. If you're not familiar with it, highly recommend go pick it up. But she talks about how it changes our mental state. It actually makes us feel more confident. It helps us feel more relaxed and less stressed, because we are putting our bodies into a position of confidence or empowerment. And you think about all the great athletes. This is why all the superheroes do it, right? Like Superman, Wonder Woman. It doesn't matter which superhero does it. They all have a power pose to get them into that emotional state. It's beautiful.
I was standing in the kitchen this morning, and I was making my coffee, and I was waiting for my cappuccino to be made. And I'm just standing by myself in the kitchen, power posing it out, and not even on purpose. Like, I didn't even realize. And my husband comes down the stairs and he's like, "Oh, look at you, Wonder Woman." I'm like, "That's right, Wonder Woman. That's who I am today. I want to take in all of my superpowers." But and so for that 30 seconds while I'm standing there waiting, my body naturally went to that. And there's a great article around blind athletes. They do the same pose even though they've never seen it. The physiology of doing this, wow, is not a visual thing. It is in our bodies. It's in our DNA to really open ourselves up. And when we lift our arms up into the air, our shoulders are up, our chin is back, we're taking in maximum oxygen, so we feel good. That's why when you go to a sporting event and people are cheering, people are jumping out of their seats to be part of the action and to cheer on their favorite teams. Like, why are we not doing that in the corporate environment? We should be the cheerleaders as leaders for the people that are doing the work. Exactly. And that is just the magic of all of this. I think it's fantastic. So gratitude, is the antidote for anxiety, for depression, for not feeling your best self, for feeling anxious, for feeling not confident. What are you thankful for? What is it about this moment in time? What did you do and make decisions in your past that you want to say thank you to your past self? And then who are you going to be in the future because of those decisions that you're making now? And that, that relationship with your past self and your future self, but also being present in the moment, because gratitude is about being present in the moment, is so, so important. When people hire coaches, if you play golf and you're at the top of your game, Tiger Woods still has a coach for his golf swing. In fact, he changed his entire swing because of his coach, but that's a whole nother story. But as a leader, we're talking about small little changes to be the next level of your best self. And so gratitude is that small little change that you can do every single day. It'll take you 30 seconds to write down one sentence, but we guarantee it will have astronomical results for who you are, what you stand for, and who you become as a future leader. It is a fantastic, fantastic tool. I want to talk about presence, John, because you talked a little bit about Amy Cuddy. Presence is, I think, a scarcity right now. In today's world, people don't know how to be present. And in fact, I think I'm going to say this, it might sound crazy, that we're going to be teaching people how to make eye contact in the very near future. It's going to disappear as a skill. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, so it was interesting. It was really interesting. Actually, before we go to that, just one thing.
Yeah.
Stack the power pose with gratitude.
Ooh, I love that.
I know. So you're doing the power pose, getting into gratitude, and just being grateful in that moment. Like you're stacking,
hold on,
right?
Let's do it. Let's do it right now. I think that's
So
good.
if you're listening in as well, Gunjan, I know you're there. If you're listening in, if you're not driving, power pose, and just for 30 seconds, think about something you're grateful for. And if you want to close your eyes, and really just step into this moment, like, chest up, chin up. You want to bring that energy into your body and just think about something you're incredibly grateful for. Just step into that moment while you're doing the power pose. Ooh. I don't know about you, but my energy is like going through the roof right now.
My shoulders are feeling woohoo, like they want to
All
dance.
right. So ideally 2 minutes. This is what Amy Cuddy talks about, presence. 2 minutes in that power pose is really going to change it. And the truth is, I'll share a secret with you, Heather. And actually, I share this secret with everybody when I do my workshops and presentations. I used to run into the bathroom stall to hold that power pose for 2 to 5 minutes, right? As a way of bringing up my confidence. So when I showed up on stage, I'd be a lot more present. All right. So presence.
John, I do the same thing. I do this. I'll find a space. I'll do it. I'm now at a space now where I will do it in front of people and actually demonstrate it. Like this is me getting ready for what I'm about to do. And I actually walk people through that process because people think it's just, oh, look, she's on stage. It's just natural. Or look, she's just doing this. No, there's a lot of prep work that goes on. And I think sharing behind the scenes shows people that this is not a natural being. It's actually something that it's part of our craft and we're working at it. So no more running to the bathroom stall, John. I think you got to do it right in front of everyone.
No, I don't run to the bathroom stall anymore. So let's get that clear. I don't run to, yesterday I didn't have to go to the bathroom stall. We're good. I got to do it while I was waiting in the lobby to be picked up, to be brought up in the building. But yes, being present, and actually, it was interesting because yesterday being on site, in a big Toronto building, in a big, in a corporate office, for the first time, I actually shook hands with people. And, it's interesting because some people, when they shake hands, they give you direct eye contact. I have a rule. If you're going to shake my hand, I want to see the whites of your eyes, right? But some people, they would shake their hands and do this and just kind of look away. And I'm like, we talk about, being present, communicating with that person. And actually that was our topic last week, communicated. But we're also, when we communicate, we don't only communicate with our words, we communicate with our body. And when you do this and you put your hand out to look at, to shake somebody's hand, first off, it was really nice to be able to shake people's hands, right? But when you're not making that eye contact and you're not it's almost like you're being distracted, and it's a courtesy. It's not something that you really want to do, but you have to do.
Yeah. And that's being misunderstood because people are feeling uncomfortable with the eye contact and the in-personness. And then it's been misunderstood that, oh, you're saying that I'm not important. So someone else is reading it as a personal slight at them. Yeah. And actually we're just losing this art of communicating with our bodies effectively and saying what we actually mean to say. We're saying messages all the time with our body, with our energy. People can read it. And, I think this idea of presence also is an antidote for anxiety and these other feelings, because when you're feeling anxious, it's usually about something that happened in the past that you wish could change, or something that you are afraid that's going to happen. There's fear involved of what's going to happen in the future. But when you're present in the moment, those things don't normally exist, unless of course your brain starts to go, I hope this person likes me, I hope this person, whatever you're thinking about them. But again, that's ego getting in the way. When you're truly being present, ego again is not driving the bus. Your heart is driving the bus, and your heart is being open and vulnerable to the person that you're talking to and that you're meeting for the first time. And that is a skill that we teach as leaders, how to open up and be heart-centric as a leader. And it has to do with how you are with your body. John, I'm only 5 feet tall. I am very, very tiny. And so when I meet people for the first time, especially when we've had an online experience, they're always shocked at how short I am. In fact, even when I'm wearing heels, they're shocked at how short I am. And you yourself have given me the feedback. I'm the tallest 5-foot person I know. I swear, that's
some of the tallest people I know are 5 feet tall. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But my presence doesn't come from height. My presence comes from love. That's what I think is the secret sauce.
Ooh. So that's deep. So how does somebody step into that? Right? Because, and actually you and I, we did a whole podcast on this, I don't know, 4 years ago, on whether or not it's okay to even use the word love when it comes to a corporate environment, right? So how does somebody get to a point, because so this is my consensus, and I might be wrong, but my sense is a lot of people feel really icky around the word, right? Like even writing the word love. And when I message people and I say, hey, I'd love to meet you, or I'd love to connect or get to know you a little bit better, I'll write the word love, right? And it took me personally a long time to get over what I thought was a stigma around using the word love, right? Especially when it comes to professional work environments. But I know it's not an inappropriate type of love. It's just coming from a love. It's a place that's really where your heart is open, where you want to give and serve, right? So how does, I'd love to find out from you, how did you get to that place where you felt comfortable even expressing and saying the word love in a corporate environment?
I think love is, in a corporate environment, is an action, not a word. So you can use the word love, but again, that might have triggers for people, especially many people have trouble actually saying I love you to even their family members. So, how can you demonstrate love, and how do you demonstrate it in the way that they feel comfortable receiving it? So, we talk about the 5 love languages in relationships. The same 5 love languages are for all human beings in the workplace. You just have to tweak it a little bit. So is the gift of your time something that really honors their love language? Is it the gift of, giving them more opportunities from a career point of view, asking for their opinion and making them feel seen and heard? These are all activities that you can do that demonstrate love, demonstrate trust, demonstrate that you really see, again, that future version of themselves that they want to step into, but they're not sure how to. I've said this before, but I think it's really important. When I'm talking to someone and I'm talking about who they want to be, I'm not talking about the person in front of me. I'm talking to the future self that's already done it and already made those decisions. And that means that I'm not talking to the fearful person that's in front of me or the person that's having second thoughts. I'm talking to the person that's already past all of that and is having an amazing life. And that distinction is really important because I can see who they're going to be. When they're looking in the mirror, they might only see the fear. It might just be in the way. So I think it's the act of love as opposed to the word love is the way to do it. And, eye contact, again, back to the basic stuff, looking at with soft eyes, with a head tilt, and really not waiting to speak, but to really listen to what they're giving as information, and both in verbal and nonverbal cues. And that's a skill that we've practiced many hours as our sensory. What's the process?
So, sensory training, circuitry training.
Exactly. He's going to kill me for not knowing the words, but that's our coach. But because of that, we're tuned in to one slight change of how people are hearing or absorbing the information. So that's I think my secret sauce. What about you, John? What do you do to show love to people?
Yeah, no. So I think we touched on this already, but just being present, right? Putting down the phones, and especially when you're in a group environment like I was yesterday, right? And there's people like all around you. My goal is always just to focus on the one conversation in front of me, right? Not worried about I got to talk to that person. I got to talk to that person. This is the person in front of me right now. And I keep eye contact, just like you said, just keeping eye contact. There's a secret to which eye you look into to create a sense of warmth and comfort. We can share that on another podcast, but I know we've shared that already. But just keeping that eye contact, some people feel uncomfortable with it, so they'll start to look away and turn away. But I will maintain. And actually, just to wrap up, I know we're almost at the end, but I believe I got a certain work engagement because of the eye contact I made with the person on the other side of the table. Because the one thing I heard from them afterwards was, I just feel really comfortable with you and I'd love to work with you. I'm like, wow. So, and that's what eye contact can do for you.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Is create that sense of warmth, create that sense of connection, because we're not doing it. And, I see it today, especially, I'm not here to talk about kids in general, but, from what I've seen from being online for so long, we've forgotten how to do that. It's almost like we need a skills workshop on how to make proper eye contact, Heather.
It's
Might be something for the future.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
right?
John, we're at time.
I know we're at time. We're at
Presence
time.
is power, though. Presence is power. I think that's the key
Ooh.
message. And make a note today. Here's the call to action. Make a note today of when you're going to be present, how you felt while you were being present, and what good came out of it. So 3 things to be focused on. And it can be present with someone at work. It can be on a Zoom call. It can be with your kids, with your spouse. All of it is being present. That's our call to action for you today.
Excellent. And throw in the power pose in there. I just wanted to add that, if you need a little bit of oomph this morning, throw in that power pose, 2 minutes. You're going to get to yourself to a place where you're going to feel incredibly powerful. All right. So that is it. We will not be here on Friday. Just to let everybody know, we will be off. It is Good Friday for us in North America. So we're going to be taking that off. So we'll be back on Monday. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for listening and supporting. And remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Wishing you all an amazing week, an amazing long weekend, and we'll see you Monday. Take care, everybody.